G'day guys, just a couple of sort of very quick definitions about a couple of terms that I didn't cover in that last video just then. The first one is sample space. So sample space is all of the possible outcomes. So I'm flicking a coin. The sample space is a list of the possible outcomes. The sample space of flicking a coin is heads or tails. Right? If a woman was going to have a child, well, the sample space for the baby is boy or girl, right? If I'm going to roll a die, okay, the sample space is the number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Okay, so the sample space is a list of, where we enumerate all of the possible outcomes. If a woman's going to have 2 babies, she can have a boy and a boy and a girl and a boy, or a girl and a girl. That's the sample space, all of the possible outcomes that can happen. Okay. The next thing is the size of the sample space. The size of the sample space is the number of elements in the sample space. Okay, so if I'm flicking a coin, the sample space is heads or tails. The size of the sample space is 2, because there are 2 outcomes, heads or tails. Right? So the size of the sample space rather, is a number, and the sample space is the possible outcomes. So again, that lady having 2 babies, a boy, 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 girl, girl, boy, girl, girl. That's the sample space. The size of the sample space is 4, because there was 4 possible outcomes. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Sample space and size of the sample space, not the same thing. You will often get an exam question where it says, a die is rolled and a coin is tossed. List the sample space. And people say, oh, there's 12 possible outcomes. So they write 12. It's not asking for the size of the sample space. It's asking you to list the sample space. Or sometimes you get a question that says, what is the size of the sample space? And people list the sample space. Okay. So one of these is asking for a number, and one of these is asking for a list of all the possible outcomes. Make sure you know the difference.